So we have the Rek'Sai ban, obviously getting that away from Sheena. Sheena's been very, very dominant this time round. So that's going to be really good. Do I make others do all the coaching work? No, no, no. I still coach whenever I can. They just work me on the academy with like content and stuff like that. We do like I think like 4 or 5 classes per week, where we just do like an hour where we go over concepts and things that are good, or we play games and commentate them, stuff like that. I still coach when I can, but I'm a full time lecturer in a university now, so that takes up big chunk of time because it's like my consistent work. I still do coaching whenever I get it through. I don't really push it as much as I used to, so I just coach when people come to me now rather than kind of looking for coaching work. But I mean, that's actually helped my mental a lot more though, because it means that I'm guaranteed a certain amount per month. You know, I'm not like trying to just make as much as I can, and my month isn't like if my month is good or bad isn't decided by how many coaching sessions I get anymore, which thank God, because it was like that for like 3 4 years, and I do not recommend that at all. It's very difficult. Okay, so they're leaving the Milio open, but the issue is now they're opening up to the same draft as what they had previously, where they looked for a kindred to abuse the Milio. Hopefully they don't blind Renekton, so we get to see what they would do if Renekton wasn't blind. Okay, we get to see Caltis Ezreal. I lecture in esports, so still somewhat similar, but it's more industry focused. Okay, so I haven't seen Caltis as Ezreal in a while, but when I played against her in playoffs of Div 1 Denmark, she played Ezreal, and it was disgusting. It was so good, and with Ezreal being so strong at the moment, we're probably looking at a very, very aggressive early, especially considering they've taken this Karma, which can either go bot lane with the Ezreal very nicely, and they can play for shutting down the Milio, or alternatively, they can potentially flex Karma into mid, which I think Tifa definitely does play at mid. They can even flex it into top as well, so we'll see what they decide to go with. So we have a Na come through. Jinx as well. Okay, so Milio Jinx, really good combo. The good thing about this is Jinx does very well into the Ezreal, but I said this earlier when Qlash were playing. Qlash earlier decided to opt into the Senna Nautilus in both games that they played. So I said one thing that you need to do in order to kind of compete versus G2 is you need to basically play Hypercarry into Caltis and just kind of fist fight for early fights and kind of play for a better team fight composition. So we did actually get the Kindred banned here. I didn't see that, so that was my bad earlier. But we've also got Na blind, which isn't the end of the world because that now gives Na the ability to he can win most lanes, or even if he doesn't win the lanes, he gets to kind of back away. So it is a late pick on jungle. They did this earlier, but they picked Kindred on R5. Now Kindred is banned now, so we'll see what they do. But the thing that they do with their comp, which is actually working really well with their team, is they pick kind of the kind of bot lane and stuff early, and then they look to pick their mid as a laner that can play for jungle, and then they play really heavily around jungle, just completely smashing the game. So it is also a viable strategy. It does put a lot of strain on the jungler to win, but it's fine. Now, you really don't want to go Fiora here, because if you go Fiora, you opt into kind of not being able to team fight effectively, but I think they were just hovering it. Okay, Malphite, really not that great considering you're playing into an Ezreal Karma and an Orianna, so the Malphite really isn't that good here, to be honest. The reason they're doing it is for big frontline, but Ornn is infinitely better in that slot than what Malphite is, because you get those ornaments late game. Also, Vi super late into the draft there, not a big fan of it, but then we get the Gragas, okay. Right, now the reason why Gragas is obviously so good is with Jinx being a hyper-immobile ADC, Gragas gets massive amounts of value to actually shut her down, so it's a really, really good pick here, and very curious to see what happens now. Again, it's very difficult for the Jinx to be able to play this game. You're playing into a Gragas that can E with an Orianna ball on him. You've got an R from the Gragas as well. There is a little bit of anti-synergy between Gragas and Orianna if they don't play it properly, but in general it doesn't really matter that much. And you have Ezreal and Karma bot lane for kind of that early prio. So what G2 have been looking to do and why they've had so much success is because the same way as I have been playing quite often, or drafting and coaching quite often, especially in Insomnia, which I just played at, is playing very heavily for objectives. You kind of want to go for dragons. So they played this mid by just getting prio and then moving into objectives. That's kind of how they look to do it. So we'll see that as well here, which will be really, really good. Lost chapter tech, of course. It's now 3 minutes instead of 4. It's a really, really big reduction. The issue is, Lost chapter tech is amazing, don't get me wrong, it's really, really good, and I really like it. The issue that you have with Lost chapter tech at the moment, though, is Yumu's is completely warping the game. So because Yumu's is so unbelievably powerful, you don't really get the chance to abuse Lost Chapter tech as well, because again, if you Lost Chapter rush and they Dirk rush, you end up playing into a Dirk assassin mid, which Dirk is such a huge power spike that it's really, really difficult to play in a mobile mid. So it is very, very good. There is definitely counters to it though. But again, in terms of draft, let me see who do I prefer. Let me have a look. Let me open up the draft again. But again, not bad. They've got 443 viewers. Very cool. So let's have a look. Okay. If you get a 3-man... Yeah, I know. That's what I said. And you always want to start Amptome. Sapphire, just, you can't... Like, Amptome allows you to control the wave way easier than what Sapphire does. And you're not going to run out of mana within 3 minutes. If you run out of mana within 3 minutes, you're doing something really, really wrong. So it's better to actually start the Amptome. Especially because you don't take pots when you go Sapphire as well. If you're into like super hard lanes, let's say like your Orianna into Zed, then you can go Sapphire because you can get 1 potion. But 1 potion is the most that you want to go. If you can't survive with just 1 potion, then it's probably not a good game to do it in general, and you should probably go Resolve. I mean, the old Malzahar tech used to be Sapphire. Because as Malz, it's different because you want to just be spamming your E on the wave more. So Malz is a little bit different, but every other champion that wants to abuse it, Amptome is just way better. So, I mean, right now, what are we looking into in terms of this comp? So we have quite a large amount of pokes. So Ezreal Karma will kind of look to poke out. Orianna does have a little bit of poke also. And we've also got Gragas that has a bit of poke on his Q too. So we're kind of playing a poke comp into a little bit of an all-in comp. Now, the issue that they're going to have is as soon as Karma gets Echoes of Helia, it's going to be super difficult to actually kill anybody on the side of G2 unless they get a really big fight. So what you're going to actually have here is G2 is going to have the ability to kind of slow down the fights really, really hard with things like the Grag Assault and the Karma Empowered E. So they're going to just look to kind of slow the game down really, really bad. And then from there, they're going to look to just slowly poke them out. So I think in general, so I think due to the fact that Milio is going to get punished so hard early by this Karma Ezreal, especially even if he goes under tower, he's just going to get heavily poked out. I'd actually say that I think I favor G2's comp, but I think both teams have very, very clear win conditions here. The thing is, I haven't seen Qlash on a hyper carry bot. The games that they played earlier today, they went with a Senna Nautilus in both games. So we'll see kind of how it goes. In general, I do think I prefer G2, but I think they do have very clear win conditions for both teams here. So, yeah, we're looking forward to it. Right. So let's see what they decide to go with here. Let's see. Where is my Twitch chat? There it is. So, yeah, Vic's good too with it. Vic's good because he's so aggressive early game, so he can get quite a lot off with it. Yeah, this is this women's tournament. So this is just a tournament. But I was invited onto co-stream, and I think initiatives like this are really, really important, and they should exist, and I think they're really, really healthy for the scene. Give women the chance to catch up to men that have been playing competitive for substantial amounts of time more. Yeah. So you do get some women leagues. Okay, so they went to go for the late invade again, but they do get caught on this ward. So the exact same as what they did previously. So they're looking to late invade into Milio consistently. So this is very, very good, actually. Just consistently looking to punish the fact that Milio can't really do much in terms of early. We do have a Nara into Malphite, so top side is going to be kind of sleeper anyway, so it's completely fine. Now the fact that Vi is forced to play vertical jungle top lane into a Na is actually really, really good for the side of G2 Hell. So again, just like, this is the thing. One thing that G2 have been consistently doing throughout this tournament is just very, very nicely like using their early level 1s and comp exactly how they need to be used. So this is really, really good, and they've been doing this so often. Yes, so G2 get a massive amount of pressure in this bot lane due to the fact that they are very heavy poke, and even though Jinx is classic counter to Ezreal, it's very hard for her to actually do too much, and also they've got, again, it was split map, so they're going to go for a dive here. I wasn't, okay, so they've got heal. Okay, they've got TP come through too, and the Ignite comes down also. Really, really clean. So this is another thing that Kaltis has been doing really, really well. These kind of slow pushes have been very aggressively used. Now, they do look to get a return kill on the Gragas, which is, like, okay, especially considering Karma got on the early, but Jinx does lose quite a substantial amount of CS to the tower due to that dive. So this is the thing. They consistently look to build up slow pushes and then look to dive them on the slow push. So they've done this in multiple games now, so it's really good. I didn't think they'd do it as much when they've got this, when they're going like Ezreal Cower, but I mean, when you've got such heavy poke into Milio, the issue is that Milio can't really do as much level 1. Yeah, it's huge. They burn TP mid, and that gives Orianna the ability to, she actually reset and got an early tier, which is really, really big. It means that she's going to start scaling way sooner than the Ahri. And again, Ahri can't TP back to lane. Actually, Tifa doesn't even need to. So this is actually really good. One of the things that I've really liked about Tifa throughout this tournament is she isn't afraid to play for jungle, which is really big, especially when you've got somebody like Sheena who really loves to go aggressive and just fist fight inside the jungle. So she's not afraid to play for jungle, and her wave management's really good. Like, she didn't even need to use her teleport there. She let the Ahri TP into bot, and then just sorted her wave out, let it pull in, and then just walked back to lane. And again, we've got this Karma just walking with, and look, you can see Tifa in the back again, just looking to keep this this Gragas as ahead as possible. Now, unfortunately, the Vi did end up getting that, but again, like, just really good play from this mid to just consistently walk into the jungle and play for Sheena. So, like, honestly, in terms of consistency, I'd say Tifa has been, like, it's very much Kaltis is running over the game. Don't get me wrong, she has been absolutely stomping, but I think Tifa has been absolutely just popping off in this tournament, just playing exactly how she needs to play the game in order for her team to get ahead. And we've got another dive coming in now already. Like, oh, Kaltis with a little bit of a risky E there though, but it doesn't really matter because, again, huge wave, Vi is here, but again, pulling this Vi into bot consistently. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. When you're playing Ezreal, you're looking to just get this push on the tower and then just look to consistently poke. So again, 10 CS lead already for the side of G2. They don't have the ability to go into the dragon now. Ooh, actually, maybe they just do. Like, they are going to use their prio to just come. Ori should just look to push this as hard as possible. Come, but a solo kill in top lane. Okay. Like, the thing that I've really been impressed with G2 this entire time is each of their players are really good. Are really good in terms of, like, mechanically, but they just, their cohesion has been really, really good throughout. Like, they've just been playing really, really well. Okay, there's a solo kill. Malphite just completely disrespected the fact that Na was about to go mega and died for it. That was really bad by Sana. Like, the fact that she went for that. Especially when you're playing... Like, you're being choked out in bot side and you're playing Malphite that's just playing to get the engage off for Jinx to do whatever she wants to do. So the fact that she is dying in that 1-for-1 is really, really bad. Like, she just has to play safe. If she plays safe, then she's good. But, I mean, this has been... Actually, I can't remember her, like, dying massively. I think that... I mean, they played more so for her in the first game of today. I think. I can't remember. So, again, Ezreal, he does have, like, a CS lead. But, again, Jinx does have a kill. Yeah, a little bit of a window. But the thing is, Ari wants to be looking to rotate, like, more anyway. Like, for example, push this wave in, look to move with Vi, but we see that Sheena is actually resetting in bot side right now, going towards top, and she's going to potentially look to go for Herald now. Like, and this is something that's been really consistent, is Sheena has just been prioritizing objectives throughout really, really well. And it's really good to see, because objectives at the moment are so unbelievably impactful for the game. That if you're not prioritizing them, then you're really, really doing something wrong. And these early plays that they've been making around bot side has been really, really good for that. So again, we have Karma already moving, but we have a move from all in this top side. But unfortunately, due to the fact that Malphite is behind and did lose prio, it means that they get to just look for this Herald quite comfortably. They are kind of dancing for it though. Malphite does have ultimate available. This could be a big opportunity for... Okay, he only really ulted the Karma. Okay, a lot wasted for the support here. And it's just a really bad fight from the side of Qlash. Like, they wasted so much for the support. And now G2 managed to, again, get top. And they still have priority on this objective. So, really, really bad overall prioritization from the side of Qlash in this fight. Sana just completely just sending it for the Karma is really not worth whatsoever. I mean, they're still looking to fight, but again, Orianna is so strong, and when they're walking into her, like, it's kind of rough. Misses the E onto the Ori, and now they're just going to run down. Sheena is looking for a trade on there, but again, Orianna's shield comes through, and now also jumps on top again. Like, much, much better team fighting from the side of G2 here. The one thing here is Karma did start walking towards top, which was a mistake. Karma should have used her death timer to use her instant tempo to just go straight into bot lane and try and potentially get something on the Jinx. But she didn't. Either way, though, Gragas does end up getting Herald and is now going to look to just kind of take away Krugs and Red and then look to go into the bottom side. Like, yeah, this is the thing. Sana isn't respecting the fact that her ultimate makes her so much further away from others, and that's really, really bad. Again, as you can see, huge CS lead as well in this bot lane, 62 CS to almost 90 for the Ezreal. I mean, the Jinx will manage to clean this wave up as it goes on the tower. But as you can see, there's this huge slow push building up and being stacked by Kaltis. So now what's going to happen is, okay, a little bit awkward for, actually Karma didn't empower Q there, so it doesn't actually matter. But as you can see, there's going to be another really big slow push coming into tower in bot lane, and that's actually going to allow Kaltis and Columba to just completely just poke them out on the tower really, really hard. So they can just continuously look to start forcing plates. This also opens up an opportunity where if the Gragas comes into bot lane now, you can quite easily get this tower with the help of Ezreal and Karma. So that's going to actually accelerate Ezreal really, really hard. Now I'm very, very curious to see what itemization Kaltis decides to go into on the Ezreal. I think Ezreal itemization is always something that's very, very, it's very, very mixed. This champ can literally build any item in the game, so people's decisions. Now, the best options that I prefer is the Sheen Rush with Tier, and then you go into Mana Moon first, because as soon as you get your 360, you should have 360 around about the same time as you actually finish your Mana Moon, and then you'll get the Muramana upgrade really soon, which on the Ezreal, Muramana upgrade is such a huge power spike of overall damage that it's probably one of his better one item spikes. So you still keep that Sheen, and then you can decide what you want to do with that Sheen a little bit later, probably going something like an Essence Reaver. Okay, she just straight up went Essence Reaver. I mean, it's okay. It's not too bad. Essence Reaver does give you a massive amount of trading potential, and she's only on 117 stacks at the moment. I didn't see. I mean, she did start tier, right? So that's fine. Mythic on Ezreal at the minute. You can go a lot of things. I mean, Yumu's is kind of just broken in general at the moment, so we're probably going to potentially see a Yumu's, but we probably see that after Essence Reaver, Mana Moon, and maybe even Cyrilda's this game. So after those items, then we'll probably see potentially a Yumu's come in and just look to do as much damage to the Ahri Jinx Vi as possible. So Trinity Force is very good, but the thing with Trinity Force is you can only really go Trinity Force if you're going to consistently be auto-attacking. And the issue that Ezreal is going to have in this game is if he is auto-attacking, he's going to be vulnerable to the Ahri to jump in, charm him, the Vi to ult him, the Malphite to ult him. So I don't really think he can go Trinity Force this game because he needs to just play from range. But playing from range is quite easy to do on Ezreal this game, so that's probably what we're going to be looking at, but we will see. But again, just looking to play around the spot side. Well, again, like I said, we're going to see this Herald come down and unlock the Ezreal lane so that he can move. They don't manage to finish this off here because Jinx managed to clear off the wave, but they did see that the Vi is here, and actually no, they do manage to nearly kill it off. What I would like to see here is a Karma just back away and allow the Ezreal and Gragas to share first tower gold, which I think that's what's going to happen. Oh, okay, they just give it straight over to Ezreal. Really, really good. 625 over to the Ezreal. Absolutely huge. In terms of kind of accelerating Kaltis this game, it's going extremely well. And this is the thing that no team has really been able to contest this 3v3 bot side of Kaltis, Sheena, and Colombo. Like, it's just been consistent... consistently that they've just been getting these advantages over and over, and a huge part of this is from the fact that in multiple games now they've late invaded and they just haven't looked to punish whatsoever. And one of the big reasons behind this is because a lot of the level 1s haven't really been that good. I mean, Milio, not amazing at level 1, it's not bad, but it's not amazing. Ahri, you can't really do that much because you take W level 1 anyway for trading in lane, and if you don't, then you're in a really bad position as the Ahri player. So they're really, really good at abusing these level 1s and kind of drafting towards the level 1 also. So yeah, it's been really good. They've really, really been playing well. So again, now they're rotating the Ezreal and Karma towards the top side. One like champions that I would have really expected to see from things like from Kaltis when they're doing this is there's been a severe lack of things like Caitlyn Lux, like, or Caitlyn Karma, for example. Like, because sometimes if you don't have a Lux player on support, it can be rough. But I mean, Caitlyn Cam is just as good, and she shows that she can play it as well. Gragas does end up getting altered by the Malphite, and that's kind of unfortunate, but the TP is coming in from the Gnar, not anywhere near Mega, though, so can't really fight this too hard, but they're just going to look to slow poke out. Orianna is behind, and Gnar is unfortunately caught on the Jinx snap traps, so that's a bit unfortunate. But again, Karma really get caught, but Orianna with a huge ultimate, but Gnar just completely throwing this was a very, very shaky team fight from the side of G2. I'd say that's probably one of the more shaky team fights that they've taken recently, to be honest. But they do get that extra kill for the Ezreal, and even though Gnar is small, he can do a lot of damage still. Looking to just continuously poke out. This is still beneficial for the side of G2 because, I mean, they still get this massive gold lead, and also one of the things that this actually allows is every single time you take a tower in a lane, you actually get minion buffs. So what's going to happen now is G2's top and bot lane waves are actually going to be buffed up, which means they're going to have to send somebody from Qlash to farm them waves more so rather than not. So really, really big play from them there, to be honest. So we now also see multiple mythics coming through too. We've got now with the Trinity Force, does have a Kindle gem as well though, so I wonder what he's building that into. Probably a Black Cleaver, but again, I would love to see the Sterak's come through, just because as we've previously said, Trinity Force increases your base AD, and then Sterak's gives bonus AD based on your base AD. So you end up in this situation where the two items just make each other bonkers, because 20% increased base AD on Trinity Force is really, really big. So it's very good. But again, like I previously said, Tifa consistently showing up in these fights, like consistently kind of dropping really good ultimates and playing exactly for what her team needs. So this is the thing, like, even though she's kind of being a carry by... Oh, that was very awkward for the Karma to get caught there, though. But she's consistently being a carry by not actually carrying. But that Gragas ultimate was beautiful to stop that there. And now Orianna just runs them down. This... I've got to admit, I'm becoming a big fan of Sheena. Like, if that's how you pronounce her name. Like, she has been performing out of her mind in this entire tournament, like, genuinely. And this is the thing, when you look at G2 Hell's lineup, like, every single member of their team has been having their chance to shine. Even, for example, Kaltis just gained massive CS lead, but, like, again, playing Ezreal, playing a little bit more of a range champion sitting back, but, like, everybody's just playing really, really well. That Gragas ult was absolutely massive to stop that engage there. Really, really good to see. Really good to see. Okay, Ezreal comes through. Doesn't really do too much, obviously. It doesn't really matter that much, though. Mana Moon coming out kind of soon. That's going to be a huge power spike for Kaltis. As soon as she does have that Mana Moon, the amount of damage that she's going to be able to output is going to be absolutely astronomical. And especially considering the ease of her being able to proc that damage is going to be massive too. Now, the issue that she is going to have, though, is Jinx is going to be able to take over the game later. But again, look at their dragon stacking right now. They are on soul point currently for this dragon. So even if they do start falling behind slightly on tempo at some point, it's not really going to matter, because as soon as they get that dragon, it's going to be absolutely huge for them. So again, it is an Infernal Soul also, which is really, really good, especially for the side of G2 Hell, where they're going to be looking to slowly poke them out in the team fights early. It's going to mean that things like Baron Dances are going to be very, very good for them, especially when they do manage to get this soul. So we shall see. Really good, though. Man, it is so hot here today. Whoo! And here's me drinking hot tea, but... you know, it is what it is. Okay. So, again, we're 6,000 gold advantage for the side of G2 Hell right now. And again, we have this Mana Moon come in from Ezreal, 333 stacks currently, almost turning into the Murrow Mana. As soon as that does evolve, it's going to be really big. We've got these longswords coming in, probably going to be the Cyrilda's Grudge. You don't really want to be leaving Cyrilda's until 4th item, just because it's going to provide massive value against his Vi and the Malphite, and also base armor right now. Scaling is at a point where it will really benefit the Ezreal to finish that item. So even on things like the Ahri Jinx and the Milio, it's actually going to be very high value. Now Ahri has gone Everfrost into the Shadow Flame. Obviously Shadow Flame, if the Karma decides to use Empowered E, it's going to proc on everybody. They're investing a massive amount here for the Gragas. It's really bad. Look at this, this very big setup. Unfortunately, the Gragas only manages to get the Ahri, which means that she will just instantly hop away. We do have now Mega coming though, and the Malphite does manage to flash away from the Orianna ultimate. But again, looking to get the Na poke. And even though they've lost one member of the team here, they are still managing to pressure towers quite heavily. Now, Vi did drop the Herald on top side, so it did manage to get one tier there, or one tier 1 in top. And since they do have the gold bounties here, it does give them a little bit more gold, but again, it doesn't come anywhere close to making up this gold deficit. We have the Murrow Mana come through on the Ezreal now also, so going to be hitting like an absolute truck. We've got the Seras finished as well for Tifa. They're both on huge spikes at the minute, and Tifa's actually already doing massive amounts of damage with this ultimate. So what we are going to see soon is maybe a Shadow Flame come out from Tifa. I'd like to see her just sit on this stopwatch and go Shadow Flame, just because it's going to synergize quite well with the Soul Shoes that she decided to go with. But we will see. Even that Gragas damage, I think that was Gragas, Poke, and Ezreal. Unfortunately, a little bit unfortunate. Didn't manage to kill that. I just said unfortunately, a little bit fortunate. Unfortunate. But I like massive pick on Sana again, and this is really bad because this is Soul Point. They do not have a Smite available, but they also do not have a top laner, so they're not going to look to go for this dragon, but they are going to look to just continuously poke out, keep control of this kind of side of the map, and Lysia does actually jump in and look to do something. But as you can see, the Ezreal damage, oh, huge. And again, another Orianna ult. Tifa is showing up massively. Like, genuinely, I'm very impressed with how Tifa has played throughout. Absolutely popping off. Like that, I've been hearing so long, we still have Hype Train. Yeah, so I mean, I stopped streaming for quite a while because obviously I had a lot of work and I just couldn't. Like, streaming has to be a hobby, right? Because I cannot make enough money off streaming to be doing it consistently. And obviously, if I had nothing else to do, that would be fine to still stream. But when I am obviously lecturing in uni and I'm still doing a lot of project work, I'm doing a lot of work with a lot of different places to try and, I don't know, have a positive impact on the esports world. Like Minds of Play is a big project that I'm working on currently, where we're basically setting up, kind of like a boot camp for neurodivergents to come and learn how to play competitive League in a healthy way and be part of the esports scene. Even if it's just, friendly games with each other. So that's been taking up a lot of my time. Obviously, Gosu Academy takes up a fair amount of time as well because I run the academy for League. So I do all the organizational work and stuff like that for it too. So I'm doing a lot of really big projects that when I was also doing like 35 hours of teaching or 30 to 35 hours of teaching in the college, I just couldn't keep up with that. And I was obviously in that college for like 15 months, so I just couldn't keep up with that much work. So unfortunately, streaming had to take a hit because I just couldn't consistently warrant spending the time on it. But I got invited to co-stream this, and obviously I couldn't say no, and it's been a ton of fun. So I've actually really enjoyed it. So hopefully it's something that happens quite often. I'd love to do this again. This has been a ton of fun. Again, it takes up my weekend, but again, I think it's a really good initiative. So, Vi tries to ult the Gragas, but he has got stopwatch, so really bad from the Vi, and manages to space away the Jinx. Huge ultimate from the Ezreal. That's doing a considerable amount of damage at this point. Again, we have this lost... we have Last Whisper coming in for the Ezreal now. And one of the big things here as well is the amount of shields that we have coming from the Karma. We didn't actually go with Echoes of Helios. You went with Shirelia's. But yeah, exactly. Now it's huge. Is actually deciding to go into some magic resist now. They started Baron and they're doing a massive amount of damage to it. Vi is behind. But again, they're holding it. And now they managed to actually get it quite soon. Does go to the Ezreal, but again, they do manage to push the Vi away, and now Vi is going to die here quite quick. Playing into Infernal Soul is huge, and Tifa again, like, okay. Like, Tifa has absolutely performed so far in this series. And this is the thing, every single member of this G2 Hells roster has carried one game or other throughout this tournament. So, it's been so good to watch. I mean, I think 4 members of G2 here have won Worlds. So they are World Championship players. I think they've won like 2 or 3 as a core. I think they just replaced... Not replaced, but Sheena is playing instead of Karina in this tournament. I don't know if that's more of a regular thing. I don't really care too much, but really, really big. I mean, and I think Sheena has been absolutely putting in work as well. Obviously, got picked a few times in this game. But again, I mean, it is the grand finals as well. And still has played very, very well for getting the members of her team ahead. But, God, this Ezreal damage is actually doing so much at this point. We will get to see what Mythic Ezreal decides to go into. But I am presuming that it's probably just going to be a Yumu's. Or, you never know, they might... yeah, probably just a Yumu's, I think, to be honest. Because it can't really go something like Gale Force and abuse that. And Yumu's is kind of the next best abusable item right now, in my opinion. So, Ezreal is a champion that just plays around just abusing items as much as possible. We do get picked onto Tifa, but... Oh, sorry, Kaltis, my bad. But she does manage to get away just in time. The Karma Redemption actually saving her life there. Absolutely massive. So I think this could potentially... Yeah, this is just a game now. So this is what I mean. Like, this was a very, very big win, considering this is a finals team. And one of the reasons behind this, I think, is because... I mean, I don't know how they played in the quarters, but in semis, Qlash played more for utility kind of AD carries and then played around that. Things like the Sen and Nautilus. So maybe they revert back to that. We shall see. Let's do a VOD review of the game. Let's go over it.